They said humans were too fragile. Then one walked out of the fire still breathing. Commander Zethkar had seen many species across the galaxy, but humans remained an enigma wrapped in contradictions. Their physiology was laughably inferior. No natural armor, no redundant organs, no environmental adaptations worth mentioning. Yet here they were, scattered across 1,000 worlds, thriving where others merely survived. The Vorthak delegation had been particularly vocal about human frailty during the emergency council session. "Their bones break like glass, Counselor," Threx had hissed through his translator. "Their skin tears at the slightest provocation. They cannot survive in vacuum for even minutes without artificial support." Zethkar's mandibles clicked in what passed for agreement among his people. The data supported these claims. Humans were, by every measurable standard, among the most vulnerable sapient species ever encountered. Their homeworld was a mild, temperate garden compared to the harsh environments that had forged stronger races. The irony was that humanity's fragility had become their greatest diplomatic asset. No one feared them enough to preemptively strike. No one considered them a military threat worth preparing for. They were the galaxy's favored underdogs, earning sympathy and trade agreements through their perceived weakness. This perception was about to be shattered. The mining station orbiting Kepler 442b had been humanity's largest off-world industrial operation, a sprawling complex of refineries and processing centers extracting rare minerals from the asteroid belt. When the Zephyrian raiders hit it, everyone assumed it would be another routine piracy operation. The human security forces were outnumbered 3-1, and their ships were outdated by galactic standards. Zethkar monitored the assault from his flagship, part of the peacekeeping fleet that wouldn't arrive for another 6 hours. Standard protocol dictated that the humans would surrender once casualties reached 20%. It was the logical response for such a fragile species. The first deviation from expectations came when the human commander refused the surrender demand. Captain Sarah Chen's voice crackled through the comm. "Negative, Zephyrian vessel. This station is under the protection of the Terran Colonial Authority. Withdraw immediately." The Zephyrians found this amusing. Their plasma bombardment began, in earnest, targeting what their scans identified as critical infrastructure. The humans should have capitulated within minutes. Instead, something unprecedented happened. As the station's outer hull began to breach and atmosphere vented into space, the human workers didn't evacuate to the safe zones. They stayed at their posts, donning emergency suits and continuing their operations even as sections of the station burned around them. When the Zephyrian boarding parties breached the airlocks, they encountered not cowering civilians but coordinated resistance. The humans fought with an intensity that defied their physical limitations. They used improvised weapons, mining equipment turned into crude but effective armaments. They fought in zero-G with a grace that surprised the raiders, and when cornered, they displayed a disturbing willingness to continue fighting even while severely wounded. But it was Marcus Rodriguez who would become legend. The 34-year-old mining foreman had been in Sector 7 when the plasma bombardment triggered a cascade failure in the fusion containment system. The entire section became a hellscape of superheated gas and radiation that would have instantly killed most species. Emergency protocols called for immediate evacuation and sealing of the sector. Rodriguez had other plans. The station's main computer core was located in Sector 7, along with data on every human colony's defensive capabilities, information that could not be allowed to fall into Zephyrian hands. While his colleagues evacuated, Rodriguez sealed himself inside, moving through corridors where the air itself was hot enough to melt most metals. Zethkar watched in disbelief as his sensors tracked a single human life sign moving through what should have been an uninhabitable inferno. The temperature readings were impossible. No unprotected human could survive those conditions. Yet Rodriguez continued his methodical progress toward the computer core. The human's emergency suit had failed within the first few minutes. His communication systems were dead. But somehow, impossibly, he kept moving. Surveillance feeds showed him stumbling through smoke-filled corridors, his clothing smoldering, his exposed skin showing severe burns. He should have been dead a dozen times over. When Rodriguez finally reached the computer core, he manually initiated a complete data wipe. The process took 12 minutes, 12 minutes during which he stood in an environment that exceeded the survival thresholds of every known sapient species. His final act was to sabotage the core's cooling system, ensuring the data could never be recovered. The Zephyrians found his body 40 minutes later, when their own specialists finally managed to cool the sector enough for entry. Rodriguez was sitting against the destroyed computer terminal, his hand still on the manual override switch. According to their medical scanners, he had been clinically dead for over 30 minutes, yet when they moved him, his eyes opened. Rodriguez lived for another 3 hours, long enough to be evacuated to the medical bay and provide a full report on the data he had destroyed. His last words, recorded by the station's medical officer, were, "Tell them the drive is clean. Tell them we held." The Zephyrian raid ultimately failed. Demoralized by the humans' unexpected resistance and denied their primary objective, they withdrew before the peacekeeping fleet arrived. The mining station was saved, though at a terrible cost. News of the defense spread throughout the galaxy with unprecedented speed. The image of Marcus Rodriguez, a fragile human who had walked through fire itself to complete his mission, challenged every assumption about human limitations. In the aftermath, as Zethkar filed his official report, he found himself struggling with the implications. If humans could endure conditions that would kill a Krillian warrior or a Vorthak trooper, what did that say about their supposed fragility? The answer came from an unexpected source, the station's chief medical officer, Dr. Elizabeth Hammond. When asked how Rodriguez had survived the impossible, she provided an explanation that chilled every non-human who heard it. "You're looking at this wrong," she said, her voice carrying the weight of exhaustion and grief. "Marcus didn't survive because he was strong. He survived because humans don't know when to quit. We're not built to be tough. We're built to endure. There's a difference." She gestured toward the medical bay where other injured defenders were recovering. Every species has a breaking point, a moment when survival instinct overrides duty. Humans have that too, but we also have something else. The ability to choose to keep going even after we've broken. Marcus knew he was dying from the moment he sealed that door. He just decided that didn't matter. Zethkar's species had conquered worlds through superior firepower and tactical brilliance. The Vorthak had spread across the galaxy through ruthless expansion and technological superiority. But humans, fragile, breakable humans, had something neither possessed: the terrifying willingness to continue functioning even when their bodies had already given up. The galaxy had been worried about the wrong thing. Human fragility wasn't a weakness, it was a weapon. Because when a creature that breaks easily refuses to break, when a being that dies easily refuses to die, what force in the universe can truly stop them? As his ship departed the mining station, Zethkar made a personal note in his encrypted files. Recommendation: reclassify human threat assessment. They are not fragile. They are something far more dangerous. They are unbreakable. Behind him, the mining station continued its operations, its human crew working with quiet determination to repair the damage. They moved carefully, favoring injuries that would have hospitalized other species for months. But they moved forward as humans always did, as humans always would.